All right. 4.6 day 2, part 3. Our last example. We want to graph a function 2, cotangent of x over 3. I'm going to rewrite this function so it looks like this. Y equals 2 cotangent of 1/3 x. When you write it like that, it looks a little easier to be able to tell b. So this a value, all that does is just stretches it a little skinnier looking. The b is 1/3. So let's talk about the effect on our period when we have a b of 1/3. Let's substitute in our equation. Period equals pi over 1/3. Fraction over fraction. So we have to flip it. So our period is 3 pi. So it takes longer now for a revolution to occur. All right, let's talk about our left and right asymptotes. Where do we start and stop our revolution? So with our bx plus c, it's right here, or right there. That's your bx plus c. So 1/3 of x equals 0. We have to solve that equation for x, so what do we do first? There. Multiply by 3. So we get still 0 radians. There's our left asymptote at 0 radians. Then let's do the right asymptote. So 1/3 x equals pi. Solve that one for x. Multiply by 3. 3 pi. There's your next asymptote.
Why did that asymptotes change? Why is it 0 pi?
Like the negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, or the 0 and pi. It depends on where the functions are undefined when that denominator equals 0.
So for tangents, it's negative pi over 2 pi over 2, cotangents.
Correct.
0 pi.
Yep. Because when we went to this example when we're graphing the tangent function, tangent is found by sine over cosine, so you take 1 over 0, which is undefined, or negative 1 over 0, which is undefined at negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. The difference with cotangent is now you're doing the opposite. You're taking cosine over sine. So in these two places, 1 over 0, negative 1 over 0, those are the two places that is undefined. So my left and right asymptotes will be different depending on my function. All right. So our asymptotes are at 0 and 3 pi. No vertical shift change to have to worry about. There wasn't a reflection. We go the halfway between those two. 3 pi over 2. And remember our snakes for a cotangent. Rise on the left side, fall on the right. And it's just kind of stretching a little bit more. This one I'll add another revolution. So to add another revolution, we'd be over at 6 pi. And our halfway point would be 9 pi over 2. Pardon? The A, all the A does is it stretches it taller, and it's hard for us to tell as teachers to see how much you really stretched it, so we're not so picky on that. So just make it taller, stretch it out vertically. The higher the number for A, the skinnier, more stretched out it'll be. To review with you, you don't have to write these down, they're already in your notes. But notice the difference. When we talk about sines and cosines, we're talking endpoints. We set those parentheses equal to 0 and 2 pi. We're talking sines and cosines. It's different when we're talking about tangents and cotangents. Now we're talking asymptotes, left and right asymptotes. And if you're talking a tangent, it's negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. And when you're talking cotangent, it's 0 and pi. So it might be a good idea for you to be able to keep track of all of these things for your next quiz, is to maybe use flashcards or Cornell notes and kind of put all the pieces together so you can keep track of the 6 different trig functions that we're going to ask you to graph by hand for that quiz 4.5 and 4.6. And there's your assignment.
Could you go back to that one?